So we just had a little roundtable full panel discussion on what is the church and why does it matter. And I was struggling with not asking so many questions on the full panel because I know it's like an overview, and I know we were going to dive deeper into some of these questions. And I brought up this, I made a joke about the term bedside Baptist, but also just this idea of...
I've never heard that before either.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
the bedside Baptist. That's a new one.
It is new to you guys.
Do you know the origin of it?
It's just like a joke to say you didn't go to church.
Okay.
Bedside Baptist, like, hey, did you go to church today? Yeah, girl, Bedside Baptist.
Oh,
So
got
it's
you.
like,
okay,
yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Hey,
all right, now I at least understand it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So, gotcha.
But that's not the same as streaming, and actually, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reality is, like, technology's really changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of that stuff when it comes to being a bedside Baptist. So,
I know, right? So you can actually listen to church. I always feel weird when...
Yeah, because that was just like a reference for sleeping in.
It was.
Right. But now it's like, oh no, like I legit can just stay in bed.
It's the new form of that.
Yeah.
And I always feel weird when people ask me, did you go to church this Sunday? And if I happen to live stream church, I always feel weird by saying yes. But no, so I'm usually like no.
Which one is it?
I didn't go to church.
Was I? Yeah,
but I did attend virtually. So
yeah. So what does that look like?
Yeah, like can church happen on TV, phone? Like
I know.
We're answering the question.
That's the question. Yeah. Well, and I mean it is like I think a really relevant question in the sense that it, especially post-COVID, like so much shifted in terms of technology, the way we engage technology, the way we had to at the time. But I think since then it's caused a lot of reflection. And I think that was the first time where you saw like churches massively lean into using digital resources for their congregation, whether that was live streaming services, providing community connection points, Zoom, whatever. It was like, so I think it started to stir up all the question of like, is this church? And suddenly you have now like all digital churches, or we saw churches that had like digital campuses. And it was like, so the whole thing was set up digitally. So yeah, I think it naturally kind of raises the question. And I mean, it's probably good to ask too, out of even last week, just trying to decide like, all right, what is the church? Why does it matter? So maybe it's good to like go back and revisit that, because it's probably good for us to like, okay, what's the nature of the church? So, and we talked about the church is really a community of Christians. I mean, that's its central core, that communion of saints. That's been redeemed by Jesus. They're kind of gathered in his name, in a local place and community. And then they're sent out to live on mission and to be the embodiment of his kingdom in the world, right? And we kind of talked about those markers of like, one, we're united in Jesus, holy, we're set apart, Catholic or universal, right? That the large global entity, and then apostolic, we're built out of the teachings of the apostles, really the New Testament. So like that's the nature of the church, right? But it is a local community. I mean, that's how that term is used in terms of its local expression. So once we kind of understand and lay that foundation, I think it's good to remind us like, well, what is the church for? Like, what do we do? Well, like we worship God together. We grow in his likeness together, right? That's part of what we do, this growth where we're meant to live on mission. We're meant to actually embody, to like make disciples, to be witnesses, but to embody Jesus's kingdom in the world. And that's all like inherent. So you have what we are, a community around Jesus and all those markers. You also have this like deeper purpose. And so then I think the question is, okay, can all that happen via your phone, right? So all this of what the church is, what it's for. And I think in answering that, I don't want to start in the negative, because I think ultimately where I want to land the plane is to help you see that like the digital church, it can be supplemental. So it can help us in that journey, but ultimately it can't take the place of a local church, right? So in some sense, there's positives that we've seen through this time. People have more access to biblical teaching than ever before.
Like this show.
Yeah,
for example.
like this show, yeah. But even then, just like even sermons, like what you're talking about, being able to lay in bed and live stream a worship service, like that sort of accessibility. I think there's been more connections that people are, right? Like we no longer all have to be in the same place at the same time to have a sense of connection, right? So whether that's online, we can have that. And a lot of people have started to kind of lean in. Their first exploration of the church is through digital mediums, right? Maybe they live stream a service, maybe they get involved, maybe they ask questions, maybe whatever it is. But here's why I think I would land the plane on saying digital church or on your phone, it can be supplemental, but it can't take the place of. I think the church is meant to be an embodied presence, right? It's actually meant, there's something inherently in our physical natures. So that's part of the issue of technology. Technology, in some sense, tries to separate our physical being from our spiritual being and just say, well, we're connected spiritually. So we can be removed physically, but still have all the benefits without the physical part. And it's like, I don't think that's actually true. I think we're actually wired as physical beings. And I think we're meant to embody the presence of Jesus in a physical way together. So maybe here's a way. So in the New Testament, there's 59 one another's commands from the teachings of Scripture of how we're to interact with one another, right? Love one another. So there's 59 of these. Yeah. Like one of them is 1 Thessalonians 4:18, which calls us to encourage one another. And the word there for encourage is really interesting in the Greek. It's parakaleo, and it means it's essentially in its root idea to call alongside. So it's the idea of encouragement, but it's rooted from two words, to call and alongside. So it's like to call alongside, right? Which is an interesting way of encouragement. But when I think of that, I think of like, oh, there is a level of encouragement that can only be experienced by embodied presence. Right? So you know this, like if you're going through a hard time, we've been in hard times, I'm sure you have as well, and you get a text from a friend, or maybe you get a chance to FaceTime call with someone, a family member that you care about, and you get the opportunity to talk. Is that encouraging?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course it is. It's good. It's good to have that moment. Is that the same depth of encouragement as when they're in the room? As when they physically hug you or when they grab your hand and tell you it's going to be okay? No, we all know that. There's like a deeper reality when the physical and the spiritual, the soul, what that piece are brought together in the aspect of encouragement. And I think that gets at where, like, yes, can you have moments? Can you have spiritual moments on your phone, engaging a sermon, talking to someone? Yes. Is it the same as when you're physically present and engaged together? It's just not. We're created that way, and the church is meant to be an embodied presence where our physical aspect of us is also brought into how we are the body of Jesus in the world. So I think that's one. I think two, even the idea of part of the nature of the church, of how we grow together, is through the work of shepherding. Right? This is the call of what our pastors are meant to do. That's really the pastor is even rooted in the word shepherd. And so part of the way that we grow is we speak to each other, we encourage each other, and our leaders are meant to help us in that. And like 1 Peter 5, Peter encourages the elders in the community. He says, "The shepherd the flock that is among you." Among you. So there's something in even the way that the church is meant to operate, where its leaders are meant to be among the people, not digitally removed, right? Like if I never see you, if I'm just speaking or sharing to this group of people here, but you're just observing out here, but we have no interaction, we have no opportunity, there's no leader, you're not connected. It's like, it's that embodied presence a little bit. So even in like how the church is meant to care for its people and its leaders are meant to interact, there's this sense of connection, of amongness. I think of like the phone can't replace the sacraments, right? So Paul uses the language in 1 Corinthians 10 where he's encouraging the church, that he says that we eat of one loaf. We eat from one loaf. And his whole point is, it's when we eat of that one loaf, it's a reminder of our unity, right? But he means that tangibly. Yeah. Like you're actually eating the bread, right?
It's like,
yeah. And there's something physical when we take communion together in the same place, whereas I observe you eat that bread and you observe me eat that bread, that we're reminded of our oneness in Christ. Like you can't do that if you're taking the elements in the living room by yourself observing somewhere in some other place. Like there's a nature even to the sacraments that are really physical.
This is a little bit of a tangent on the topic of communion. That brings up a good point, because I remember when I was planning our wedding, we were planning the wedding, and they asked, do you guys want to take communion together? But it was like, I was confused because I was like, you mean like everyone take communion? And they're like, no, just like you and your husband. And I said, but is that technically communion if we're just the two of us? Isn't it supposed to be like, so I guess what I'm really trying to ask is, when people do the sacraments, and it's so hard because I understand that there are like people like my grandmother, she cannot physically go to a church. So she has deacons from her church show up. But they actually show up physically and have communion in her living room with her. But like if you're by yourself and you pull out, like, is it still considered communion?
I mean, no, I wouldn't say technically. Like technically, communion is meant to be an act of the community together. Now, we can talk about people who are shut-ins or accessibility issues, because I do think there's an extension of grace. But I'm talking about someone who's like, well, I'm just going to take communion on my own personally. This is what I do. So all I have to say is I wish as a pastor I had as many people ask the sort of questions you were asking when you get married. As like normally they're not even thinking about that. Well, they're just like, what decorations can we put up? It's like, oh, let's like, so, but yeah, I think you're right. Like it is meant to be a communal engagement. That's what Jesus gave it to be in this kind of ordinance of his church. I mean, I think of even things like serving, like you can't serve via digital. Like the most you can really do is maybe communicate a little bit and maybe give some resources. That's not bad. But like that deep essence of physical service, or even like love and mission. So Jesus says like, a new commandment I give you, love one another. Like, and this is how they'll know that you're my disciples, if you love one another. It's like, how does the world look and see love if that's only through a disembodied medium that like there's no representation? It's all disconnected. So that's where I'm saying, like, I don't think the phone can replace those things. Like, I don't think it can replace embodied presence or love or even the sacraments. And that's where I would probably say that's why it can't actually take the place of church.
Yeah. It's, man, there's so much to talk about with this alone. Like, I'm thinking about even the world outside of the church, and how when they created social media, the idea was, let's connect people more.
Yeah.
But it's distanced us even further. Like, we are the loneliest generation. And if you look at the parallels, it's like, because you can't replace being together with people and getting to know them and working alongside and all of that. Just, it can't be
the digital medium by itself seeks to, you only give one part of yourself to it. You don't even have really the chance to give your full
That's powerful,
self in a digital medium, right? And so it's a natural barrier to the actual way in which we're meant to interact and engage with people. So so all that, I don't see it. I don't think it can replace and take the place of church. Now, on the flip side, I think there are positive. I think that's where I would say it can be supplemental.
Absolutely.
Right? So even like live streaming a worship service, that can be positive if you are sick, if you're traveling, to give you a sense still of connection with a community that you're committed to. And I don't think that's wrong, right? And so, I think you said your grandma is the one who to give your grandma the opportunity for a church that she's connected with to be able to still connect with that church even though she can't physically go, man, what a gift. But like you said, what actually is the church is when those deacons come to visit her. When the community is connected, that's actually where she experiences church, because she experiences that deeper togetherness where, like, instead of she's no longer just an observer, which is what you are when you watch a live stream, you're actually a participant. You're actually part of that community. So that's where I would say it can supplement, but it can't take the place of. It can provide great resources, right? I mean, I remember as a college student, like, the first time I got sermon podcasts on my iPod. That's how old I am. Walking around, that was like awesome. I could listen to sermons when I worked out, when I walked. It was encouraging. It was helpful. I was able to grow, and it was helpful in my faith.
But you weren't replacing
Right.
going to church.
Yeah. Because sermons aren't the only thing you need to grow spiritually. If it was, then
Then it would
that's all we would do.
That's all we would have is
Right,
sermons. Yeah.
But it's actually, I grew because I had a community of students that we were on campus together in each other's lives, going and engaging and moving. Like,
Yeah. And you form some of the best relationships just serving alongside people.
yeah.
And again, like you said, there's only one part of you on the phone that you can give. You can't really get the full embodiment of.
And it can help people form connections. So, yeah. So here's what I think of. I kind of think of church on your phone like Ozempic.
Ooh, we went there.
It can help you. But it cannot take the place of a good diet and healthy exercise. Right? It's a supplement. Ozempic can be a really helpful tool for a lot of people, and it has been, right? But if it becomes the thing that you're based on to try to get a healthy life, it can't provide that for you. At some point, the diet and movement of your body have to be the central thing if you actually want to live physically healthy. By and large, I know there's exceptions. I'm just using this as an illustration,
for
right?
Sure.
And I think in my mind, digital church is like that too. It can be helpful. It can be supplemental. It can provide you certain things in a season. But if you're actually going to grow and actually be the way Jesus desires you to be.
A healthy Christian.
A local community of Christians that you are committed to and living out the mission of Jesus, embodying the kingdom as his redeemed people, has to be the primary thing. And that's where I would encourage you, as you listen to this, like if you desire to grow in the way of Jesus, find a local church, be committed to that local church, engage in it with your whole self, physical and spiritual. And always, we just take an opportunity. If you're looking for a church and you happen to be in the Metro Detroit area, Woodside has 14 campuses. I know this is a shameless plug, but we got 14 campuses around the Metro Detroit area. There's probably one close by you, and we'd love for you to come check us out. But either way, wherever you're at, get connected to a local church. It is what will help you the most in growing in your faith.
Hey everybody, it's Jennifer from Everyday Theology. Hey, if you didn't know, Everyday Theology is a part of Woodside Bible Church, and we have 14 campuses all across Southeast Michigan. You should check one out. If you go to our website and check out locations, you can find service times and more information. We would love to see you on a Sunday morning.